The village of Sango. The village of Sango was a hidden gem nestled between meandering rivers and dense, ancient forests. It was a place where the days were gentle and the nights brought songs of crickets and whispering winds. The villagers thrived in harmony with nature, their lives woven into the rhythms of the land and water. At the heart of this peaceful community was a family that everyone admired, Oma, the kind and diligent mother whose hands worked tirelessly to weave baskets and tend the garden, her husband Ikon, a master hunter respected for his wisdom and strength, and their daughter Zina, a spirited and curious 12-year-old with a heart as vast as the river that flowed beside the village. Zina was adored by all, but her bond with the river made her unique. Every morning, she could be seen walking down to the water's edge, a clay pot balanced effortlessly on her head. She loved to sing as she collected water, her voice blending with the rustling trees and the murmuring currents. The river, it seemed, loved her back, shimmering as if in response to her lilting melodies. Lately, though, Oma noticed something strange. Zina would return from her morning visits quieter than usual, her gaze lingering toward the river as if she'd seen something she couldn't quite explain. Just the wind in the trees, she said when her mother asked about it. But Oma wasn't convinced. Unbeknownst to the family, something or someone had taken an interest in Zina. A presence lingered near the river, concealed by the thick underbrush and towering reeds. It watched her, silent and unblinking, as she sang her songs and filled her pot. One evening, as the sun set and the villagers prepared for their nightly storytelling around the fire, a chilling discovery brought the peaceful mood to a halt. Strange footprints, larger than any man's, with claw-like imprints, were found near the riverbank where Zina always sang. The villagers, normally cheerful and brave, fell into uneasy murmurs. Oma gripped Ikon's arm. "What kind of creature could leave such a mark?" she whispered. Ikon's jaw tightened, and his hand instinctively reached for his hunting spear. Zina stood frozen, staring at the footprints with wide eyes. She felt a shiver crawl up her spine as a memory stirred, an indistinct shadow that had flickered in the corner of her vision that morning by the river. The air seemed heavier, the once harmonious sounds of the forest now unsettling in their stillness. Whatever had left those footprints was no ordinary animal, and it had come too close to their home. The peace of Sango had been disturbed, and an ominous question hung in the air: who, or what, was watching Zina? The unseen threat. A few days after the discovery of the strange footprints, a new face appeared in Sango. The stranger introduced herself as Nyoka, a traveling herbalist. She was strikingly beautiful, her long braids adorned with beads that clinked softly when she moved. Her deep, honeyed voice carried a strange allure, drawing attention wherever she went. Nyoka quickly became the talk of the village. She claimed to have rare herbs capable of curing illnesses and protecting against unseen dangers. Some villagers welcomed her, eager for her remedies, but the elders exchanged uneasy glances. There was something about her, an air that felt both enchanting and unsettling. Oma, always kind and trusting, was one of the first to welcome Nyoka. She invited the herbalist into their home, intrigued by her knowledge of plants. Zina, too, was drawn to Nyoka's stories of distant lands and magical remedies. Nyoka gifted her a small, intricately carved pendant, claiming it would keep her safe from harm. Ikon, however, wasn't charmed. He watched Nyoka from a distance, his hunter's instincts prickling with suspicion. "There's something off about her," he told Oma one night, his voice low and firm. "She shows up just after the footprints are found, and now she's spending too much time here. Keep Zina away from her." Oma dismissed his concerns with a soft laugh. "Ikon, you're being overprotective. Nyoka is harmless. She's helping us." But Ikon couldn't shake his unease. Over the next few days, Zina began to change. She grew quieter, her usual sparkle dimming. At night, Oma and Ikon would hear her murmuring in her sleep, fragments of strange phrases that made no sense. "The shadows are coming," she whispered one night, her voice tinged with fear. Another time, she sang an eerie melody in a language they didn't recognize. Oma tried to comfort her, blaming the incident on bad dreams, but Ikon's unease deepened. He confronted Nyoka during one of her visits, his tone sharp. "Whatever you're doing, stay away from my family." Nyoka's lips curled into a faint smile, her eyes gleaming. "I only wish to help, Ikon," she said smoothly. "You misunderstand me." Despite Ikon's warnings, Oma continued to accept Nyoka's gifts and advice, believing she meant no harm. Then, one afternoon, Nyoka brought a small clay bowl of food, fragrant with spices and herbs, and insisted it would give Zina strength. That evening, Zina fell ill. She was feverish, her small body trembling as she clutched her stomach. Oma and Ikon hovered over her, desperate to help, but none of Oma's remedies worked. "She ate the food Nyoka brought," Ikon said, his voice a growl of anger and fear. Oma looked stricken, realization dawning too late. "It can't be. Nyoka wouldn't." But Ikon's expression was grim. "This isn't a coincidence. She's done something to Zina." As the night stretched on and Zina's fever worsened, the once quiet fear in the village grew louder. What had they allowed into their midst? And what price would they pay for trusting the mysterious stranger, the sudden loss? The morning after Zina fell ill, the village awoke to the sound of Oma's anguished cries. Despite the healer's tireless efforts, Zina's small, vibrant light was extinguished. Her passing sent shockwaves through Sango, a place unaccustomed to tragedy. The once lively household grew silent and hollow. Oma, inconsolable, withdrew into herself, her days spent staring blankly at the riverbank where Zina used to sing. Ikon, consumed by guilt, became a shadow of his former self. He avoided Oma's gaze, the weight of his failure to protect their daughter heavy on his shoulders. Nyoka, however, remained unsettlingly composed. While the villagers mourned, she carried on with her herbal practices, her calm demeanor an affront to their grief. To the surprise of many, she began to grow closer to Ikon, offering him strange concoctions to ease his pain and softly spoken words of comfort. Ikon, desperate to numb the ache in his chest, didn't push her away. Oma noticed but said nothing, too lost in her sorrow to confront him. Her nights, however, were far from peaceful. Dreams plagued her, vivid, unsettling visions of Zina, her face pale and tear-streaked, calling out to her mother. "Danger is near," the ghostly figure whispered, her voice trembling with urgency. "Beware the shadows, Mama." Oma awoke from these dreams drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. She tried to convince herself they were nothing more than manifestations of her grief, but deep down, a seed of doubt took root. Strange occurrences soon began to haunt their home. Late at night, shadows seemed to move on their own, slithering across walls and floors like living things. Cold, unnatural gusts of wind swept through their home, extinguishing fires and making the air feel heavy and oppressive. And then there were the whispers, soft, unintelligible murmurs that came from nowhere, sending chills down Oma's spine. Ikon, though he noticed the disturbances, dismissed them as tricks of the mind brought on by their shared grief. But Oma wasn't so sure. Her instincts, honed by years of motherly intuition, told her something far darker was at play. One evening, as she sat by the dying embers of the fire, Oma thought she saw a shadow near the doorway, a figure that didn't belong. Her breath caught in her throat as the shadow lingered for a moment before slipping away, leaving behind a faint echo of laughter. The once peaceful home had become a place of unease, a haunting reminder of Zina's absence and the inexplicable darkness that seemed to have followed in her wake. Oma clenched her fist, determination mingling with her sorrow. Whatever this presence was, it wasn't natural. And it wasn't done with them yet. The revelation of evil. Oma could no longer ignore the strange events consuming her family. Desperate for answers, she sought out Nanabizi, the village elder known for her wisdom and deep connection to the spiritual world. The elderly woman lived on the outskirts of Sango, her small hut surrounded by talismans and charms meant to ward off evil. Nanabizi listened intently as Oma poured out her fears, Zina's strange illness, her haunting dreams, the moving shadows, and the unsettling presence of Nyoka. When Oma finished, the elder's face was grim. "Child," Nanabizi began, her voice heavy with foreboding, "Nyoka is not what she seems. I felt her presence since the day she arrived. She carries the mark of the spirits, but not of the kind that guide us. She walks with darkness." Oma's heart pounded. "What does that mean?" "She is a witch," Nanabizi said bluntly. "Sent by the malevolent spirits to disrupt your lives. Your Zina's death was no accident. It was a sacrifice, a means to gain power." Oma's breath caught in her throat. "No, she wouldn't. I let her into my home. I trusted her." "That is how they work, child," Nanabizi said, her eyes narrowing. "They lure you with kindness, then strike when your back is turned. You must act swiftly before more harm comes to your family." Nanabizi instructed Oma to prepare for a cleansing ritual that would reveal the truth. That night, Oma gathered the items needed, white chalk, sacred herbs, and Zina's favorite belongings, and returned to Nanabizi's hut. The two women began the ritual, chanting prayers and burning the herbs to summon Zina's spirit. The air grew cold, and the fire flickered unnaturally. Suddenly, Zina's ghost appeared, her figure pale and ethereal but unmistakably her. Oma fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Zina, my sweet girl." Zina's ghost looked at her mother with sorrowful eyes. "Mama, I don't have much time. Nyoka, she took my life for power. She poisoned me with her food. I trusted her, but she betrayed us. She means to destroy our family. You must stop her." Oma's grief was replaced by a fiery resolve. "I will, my love. I will not let her win." Before disappearing, Zina's ghost whispered, "Protect Papa. She has him under her spell. You must break it." Oma returned home with a heavy heart, her mind racing with plans. When Ikon arrived later that night, she confronted him. "Ikon, Nyoka isn't who she claims to be. She's the reason Zina is gone. She poisoned her for power." Ikon frowned, his expression darkening. "Oma, stop this. Nyoka has done nothing but try to help us. You're blinded by grief." "No, Ikon," Oma insisted, her voice trembling but firm. "Zina's spirit came to me. She told me the truth. Nyoka killed her." Ikon shook his head, his tone cold. "You're letting your sorrow cloud your judgment. Nyoka has been kind when we needed it most." "I won't hear this." Oma's heart broke at his refusal to believe her. She realized that Nyoka's influence over Ikon was stronger than she feared. If she was going to save what remained of her family, she would have to act alone. The fight for justice. Oma, though devastated by Ikon's refusal to believe her, resolved to act. She sought out the village elders, sharing everything Nanabizi and Zina's ghost had revealed. The elders, already uneasy about Nyoka's presence, listened with growing alarm. Under Nanabizi's guidance, they agreed to help Oma. Together, they devised a plan to expose Nyoka and banish her from Sango. As Oma worked with the elders in secret, Nyoka grew bolder. One afternoon, she confronted Oma, her usual charm replaced by cold arrogance. "You're wasting your time grieving," Nyoka said, her voice smooth but threatening. "Ikon will see reason soon enough. I will marry him, and together we take control of this land. Your family's wealth will finally serve a purpose, my purpose." Omar's heart burned with anger, but she masked it with a look of submission. "If that is your wish, Nyoka," she said softly, lowering her head. "I have no fight left in me. Just spare Ikon. Don't harm him." Nyoka's lips curved into a triumphant smile. "Smart woman," she said. "Perhaps there's hope for you yet." Behind Nyoka's back, however, Omar was working tirelessly to ensure her downfall. The elders, led by Nanabizi, prepared a sacred ritual to summon the ancestral spirits and reveal the truth to the village. They planned the ceremony to coincide with a gathering at the river, where Nyoka would be lured under the pretense of celebrating the spirits. When the day arrived, the villagers assembled at the riverbank, curious and uneasy. Nyoka, unaware of the trap, arrived dressed in her finest attire, exuding confidence. She believed the celebration was in her honor, a step closer to solidifying her hold over Ikon and the village. As the ceremony began, the elders chanted ancient prayers, their voices harmonizing with the rustling trees and flowing river. Smoke from sacred herbs curled into the air, and the atmosphere grew heavy with an otherworldly presence. Suddenly, the wind picked up, swirling violently around the gathering. Gasps echoed through the crowd as Zina's ghost appeared, her figure shimmering with ethereal light. The villagers stared in shock, their fear mingled with awe. Zina's voice rang out, clear and strong. "My people, hear me. Nyoka is no healer. She is a witch who took my life for her own gain. She poisoned me and seeks to destroy my family. Do not let her deceive you any longer." The crowd erupted in whispers, their gazes shifting to Nyoka. The once confident woman now looked uneasy, her smile faltering as she realized the tide was turning. Nanabizi stepped forward, her voice commanding. "Nyoka, you have brought darkness to our village. The spirits have spoken through Zina, and your evil will not go unpunished. Leave now, or face their wrath." Nyoka, now exposed and cornered, snarled in defiance. "You fools think you can banish me. I have more power than you can imagine." But as the elders intensified their chants, the winds grew fiercer, and the river roared as if alive. Nyoka's defiance wavered, her form flickering as if the spirits themselves were stripping her of her power. The villagers watched in awe and fear, united in their resolve to protect their home. They knew that justice was being served, and Omar, standing tall amidst the chaos, vowed to see this fight to its end. The witch's downfall. The revelation of Nyoka's betrayal sent a wave of determination through the village. Under Nanabizi's guidance, the people gathered at the riverbank at dawn to confront the witch. The elders prepared for a spiritual battle, crafting charms, lighting sacred fires, and arranging offerings to the ancestors. Drums echoed across the land, their rhythms powerful and unyielding, summoning the strength of the spirits to aid them. Nyoka stood at the edge of the gathering, her face contorted with rage. She raised her arms, and dark clouds swirled overhead, blocking out the sun. Thunder rumbled as she unleashed her dark magic, summoning violent winds and a swarm of snakes that slithered from the shadows toward the villagers. The crowd recoiled in fear, but Nanabizi's voice cut through the chaos. "Stand firm. Do not give in to her tricks. The spirits are with us." As the villagers began to chant together, their voices united, Zina's ghost appeared once more. She stood before her family, her glow shielding them from the onslaught of Nyoka's magic. "Mama, Papa, stay strong," Zina said, her voice filled with love and resolve. Omar stepped forward, her heart pounding but her spirit unyielding. She met Nyoka's furious gaze, her voice steady as she called out, "Nyoka, you have taken my daughter's life and sought to destroy my family. But your evil ends here. You are no match for the power of love and the strength of the ancestors." Nyoka snarled, her eyes glowing with a malevolent light. "You think mere words can stop me? You are nothing, Omar." But Omar refused to be intimidated. She clutched Zina's pendant tightly, raising it high as she spoke the names of her ancestors, calling on their strength. Spirit of Sango, hear me. I stand as a mother, fueled by the love of my child and the will of my people. Grant us your power to end this darkness. The air crackled with energy as the drums reached a fevered pitch. The villagers' chants grew louder, their collective were pushing back against Nyoka's storm. The snakes hissed and retreated, unable to withstand the spiritual force radiating from the gathering. Nyoka screamed in fury, summoning one final surge of power, but almost stepped closer, her voice unwavering. You cannot defeat what is pure and just. Zina's love is stronger than your greed, and the ancestors will not let you harm us any longer. As Oma spoke, Zina's ghost appeared beside her, her light growing brighter. Together, mother and daughter faced Nyoka, their combined strength breaking the witch's hold on the village. The spirits answered Oma's plea. A powerful wind swept through the gathering, encircling Nyoka. Her screams turned to desperate cries as her form began to change, her limbs twisting and shrinking until she was no longer human. The villagers watched in awe and relief as Nyoka was transformed into a serpent, her glittering eyes filled with hatred. The serpent slithered away into the depths of the forest, banished forever by the spirits. The storm dissipated, and sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the riverbank. The village erupted in cheers, their chants now songs of victory and gratitude. Amma fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as she looked toward Zina's ghost. Thank you, my child. You saved us. Zina smiled, her form beginning to fade. Mama, you gave me the strength. I will always be with you. As the village celebrated their triumph, Oma stood tall, knowing they had not only defeated Nyoka but also honored the love and courage that bound them all together. The darkness was gone, and peace returned to Sango, forever protected by the spirits and the memory of a brave young girl. Peace restored. The village of Sango slowly returned to its peaceful rhythm, but life would never be the same for Oma and Ikon. They mourned Zina deeply, their hearts aching for the daughter they had lost. Yet, amidst their grief, they found solace knowing her spirit was finally at peace, freed from Nyoka's malevolent grasp. Oma and Ikon reconciled, the ordeal forging a bond even stronger than before. Ikon, filled with regret for doubting Oma and falling under Nyoka's spell, vowed never to let his guard down again. Oma, empowered by the victory, began to embrace her strength, not just as a mother but as a protector of her family and the village. Together, they rebuilt their lives, their love and resilience guiding them forward. The villagers honored Zina's bravery with an annual festival by the river, the place she had loved most. On the day of the festival, they gathered to tell her story, a tale of courage, love, and the triumph of light over darkness. Children sang songs in her memory, and elders shared the wisdom of the spirits, reminding everyone of the importance of unity and vigilance. Nana Busy, recognizing Oma's newfound strength, took her under her wing. She taught Oma the ways of the spirits, sharing knowledge of rituals, herbs, and protective charms to ensure the family's safety. Oma, once hesitant to believe in such powers, embraced her role, becoming a guardian of her family's legacy and a symbol of hope for the village. One quiet evening, as the sun set over the river, casting a golden glow over the water, Oma, Ikon, and the villagers gathered by the bank. They lit lanterns and placed them in the river, watching as the soft light floated downstream, symbolizing Zina's lasting presence. As Oma stood beside Ikon, she felt a gentle breeze brush against her cheek. Turning toward the river, she saw a faint figure shimmering in the fading light, Zina's ghost, her face serene and smiling. Oma's breath caught, but this time, there was no sorrow in her heart. "Thank you, my sweet girl," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Zina's ghost lingered a moment longer, her gaze filled with love, before fading into the twilight. Oma knew then that Zina would always be with them, watching over her family and the village she had loved. The story ended as it began, with the village of Sango in harmony. But now, it carried the strength of a lesson learned and a legacy honored. The river flowed on, its current singing Zina's name, a reminder that even in loss, love and courage endure. As the years passed, the festival in Zina's honor became a cornerstone of Sango's traditions. Children grew up hearing her story, learning the importance of courage, unity, and the strength of the human spirit. The river, once a place of grief, became a symbol of hope and resilience, its waters reflecting the light of countless lanterns each year. Amma, under Nana Bizi's mentorship, grew into a respected spiritual guide for the village. Her once quiet voice now carried wisdom and strength, and her presence brought comfort to those in need. Ikon, too, found a renewed sense of purpose, teaching the next generation of hunters the importance of protecting their community, not just from physical threats but from the unseen dangers of the spirit world. Their home, once shadowed by sorrow, was now filled with warmth and laughter. Though they never stopped missing Zina, her memory became a source of inspiration rather than pain. They kept her favorite spot by the river adorned with fresh flowers, a quiet tribute to the daughter who had given them so much. One evening, as the family sat by the fire sharing stories, a soft breeze swept through their home. Amma and Ikon exchanged a knowing glance, their hearts filled with a quiet joy. They didn't need to see her to know she was there. The river continued its eternal journey, weaving through the forest and carrying the legacy of a young girl who had faced darkness and triumphed through love. Sango thrived, its people united by the lessons of their past and the bonds they shared. And somewhere beyond the veil of the living, Zina's spirit rested peacefully, her heart full as she watched over the village she had called home. Her light remained, unyielding and eternal, a